this. Is there anyone who has already seen my session on this topic? Okay, good. So there are some of you who have not. So I will go through the basics as well. Uh, so I've got some assumptions about your knowledge because we have just 45 minutes, which is very short time to present what I want to tell you. So I expect that you're somewhat familiar with its solution framework. Parvez will be presenting about that today. So make sure you visit this session as well if you're not strong in this area. And I assume that we are talking about shipping high valuable apps which are important and complex. This usually doesn't apply to simple scenarios for personal and team productivity. So today, if you want to deal with moving your solutions around environments, you can pretty much choose from three approaches. You can either rely on in-product features, so you can use Power Platform pipelines, Power Platform catalog, Git integration, and you can do some stuff with that. If you feel like you need to start moving configuration data around, you want to use some post-deployment automation, you will start looking into GitHub or Azure DevOps, where you can run your own compute and your own scripts. And also there are options which are quite advanced, and I will show you a little bit of that at the end of the session, how like traditional developer tools can be used in combination with Power Platform so that this thing feels like a .NET project, for example. The same things can be done with Node.js. It's up to your imagination how to combine it. The platform can support it. So I run a team which supports tens of customers, and we have quite significant needs to have things consistent. We do a lot of releases. We need to make things repeatable, and if something goes wrong, we need to act really quickly to correct things on production. So we support a lot of production systems, and we needed to build a lot of tools because unfortunately not everything is at the state of maturity that we would expect from the platform. So things you will see in my presentation are some extensions to Microsoft.NET and MSBuild for building your projects. I share .NET templates for common solution components. Everything I show here is available on GitHub in a repo where you can see all the steps and scripts, so you can try that at home. And I think that if you see what I'm doing here, and you saw probably other sessions recently, this is a good base for using some sort of AI-assisted approach to creating apps as an alternative to Plan Designer, for example. So I've been presenting about this for 4 or 5 years. I think my original problem statement still stands. We need to get more professional developers onto the platform, because usually when you start from the citizen development side, there is only some way you can work. Only you can get to the depth of a certain level, but the platform also needs people with like computer science background who are engineers, programmers, developers, and they're currently working on other stacks and visual technologies. And we need these people too to work on those high valuable complex apps which present risks to the business from the financial and operational perspective, because we are not building just toys. We need to build important apps which support critical processes, and they can be difficult to build. So usually when I need to hire professional developers, they don't look at Power Platform, as an alternative to their stack. They see it more as a complication to the stuff how they do things. So I'm trying to change that, and I'm trying to show everyone that we can actually use the tools that we're used to, so that we can make it interesting even for the nerds like myself. So you have probably experimented with AI recently. So to sum up my experience, it's very good. When you start vibe coding, the first hour or two, it produces really good results. As you start touching it and changing it, it gets outside of like the probabilistic statistical ways of how the code should look like. It starts to differ to the average code you find on GitHub, and then it starts getting progressively bad. So we talked about that at length with Magnus yesterday, that we really believe that we should be trying to limit the amount of code we generate with AI, because it's a really good tool for orchestration. It can get things done very quickly. We can help ourselves with the productivity, but we should still try to apply what we apply to working with regular teams of regular developers, and that's trying to reduce the amount of code that we create. And use some of the abstractions that we have built in the couple of past decades, even with AI. So one specific example is I would much rather use form XML over generating React, because I don't think every date picker on every screen needs to be unique, and I need to be fixing that's the week is supposed to start on Monday because we're in Europe, right? So there is a need for some sort of component system for these AI generated apps, which Power Platform can provide, because these are existing concepts we've been using for years. So we've seen this, the feeling we have with AI, we've seen this happen with junior developers when we need to train them and get them onboarded on projects. This just happens a lot faster, and we don't use the regular guide rails we have solved for human developers. And that is that we introduced abstractions with low code, so the problem space for solving an issue is much smaller. We use declarative logics over implementing everything all over again, and we enforce some rules and processes to enforce team discipline, so our projects are uniform and they follow a set of rules. We can do all of that with AI as well. And I think there is a lot of room for improvement, even with tooling. So that's a quick intro. Now back to the topic. When we talk about CI/CD, we basically talk about how we can take a team of multiple developers working on the same projects, possibly different features. How can we integrate their changes into one version that we can test and deploy to downstream environments? So that's the process simplified. Now I will show you some examples of what the platform can natively support. So today you can make use of Power Platform pipelines. You can use native Git integration. There are some tidbits that we will go through. But before I start the demo, I want to mention two things which Parvez will be talking about, in case you are not familiar with Solution Framework at all. Solutions are packages which you export from Dataverse, from Power Platform, and they contain all the components, source code, and metadata for things that you create in the environment. There are two flavors to the packages. One of them you can treat as a thing which can be committed to your source code version manager, and the other thing is an artifact that you deploy that you're not supposed to touch, and it supports servicing of environments where there are multiple solutions, multiple layers. You can install them, uninstall them. They are meant for distribution. You can also have Dataverse packages. This is a way how you can take multiple solutions. If you segment your application to separate your data model from business logic and presentation, for example, and you can also include configuration data. So if you have a list of countries that you want to have the same on all the environments, you can export them via a configuration migration tool, and you can use package deployer to deploy that data as part of your unit of deployment, which is very handy if you have some references from Power Automate to some data in tables, for example. You can also include custom code so that you can migrate columns if you want to rename them, change their data types, and you can perform any sort of post-deployment automation like reassignment flows, enabling, disabling processes, and all sorts of stuff. So Dataverse packages, Dataverse solutions. Now let's have a look at the real environment where I have set up the regular situation we have with Power Platform pipelines. So here I have my developer environment. I have system integration testing environment. This is where all the changes from all developers come together. I have a test environment where I deploy the new build for testing, and then I promote it to production. So I have 4 environments in my setup, and let's start with looking at the dev environment, because that's where I make changes. I have already created a solution, which is unmanaged because I'm creating the stuff here, and I linked it to Power Platform pipeline host and source control repository. So you can see I have two tables here created. I will do a simple modification here so we can see the changes propagate. So for example, I will change the description, my table of transactions. Okay, so now I saved it. So how do I promote it to another environment? One option is that I will export the solution, then I will switch to the other environment and I will import it there. Alternatively, I can use the in product feature for promoting the change via pipeline. So here on the solution level, I can invoke the deployment to the test environment. So I can click here, deploy, and it will export the solution automatically and store it in the pipeline host, which is another environment in your tenant, where the solution is saved, and then it gets promoted to the destination. I can hook into this process if I want to have any sort of custom approval or, for example, automation of checking into source control, or I want to play with combining it with other components like plugins that I need to build externally. This is where I can make use of the customization capabilities. So let's have a look at, I will not finish this deployment, but let's have a look at how we can customize this process. So I will switch to a special environment, which I called IT operations. This is where we can do all sorts of automation for, moving things around our environments. And I deploy Power Platform Pipeline's package host to that environment, which means that all the deployments are orchestrated by code which runs within this environment. And what I created here was a flow which hooks into the deployment process, and it commits the changes to Git through the native feature that Power Platform provides. So I want to store my source code. I want to see the changes which I'm making in my Azure DevOps repo. So this is how I can achieve that automatically. So I can hook into the deployment process request. So when I clicked the button deploy, Dataverse invokes a message which I can subscribe to here in Power Automate, and I can use another message or custom API here, commit to Git, which can commit the changes from the solution to Azure DevOps. Then if it goes through successfully, I can mark that as completed, and my pipeline will continue deploying. So that's a simple scenario how I can customize the process. I can do approvals here. I can run external pipeline builds here, whatever you come up with. Now let's get back to my dev environment and have a look at how we can do that manually. So you can see here that I connected my solution to Git because otherwise it wouldn't work. And here, if I make any changes, I can use this pane called source control, which gathers all the unmanaged changes I made on my environment, and it allows me to commit the changes to my source control. So I changed the script is my commit message, so my colleagues know what I did here. And after I click commit, the change set is set to Azure DevOps, and I can see that on the source code level. So there are some noisy changes. This is not ideal. That shouldn't be here, but the change that I made is visible here. So I made the entity description, and you can clearly see what has changed in the source code. I can also switch to the view of all files from the environment because I made a type of connection between Power Platform environment and Azure DevOps, which tracks all the solution on the environment level that I onboard on the change tracking. So everything I created in that solution, which was two components now, two tables, I can see here in the source code, including all the history that I have made in this particular folder or on the particular file. Is there anyone familiar with pull requests? Great. So let's have a look at how we can use pull requests with this. Because as you can imagine, there might be a problem that multiple people are touching the same components. So let's say that I will change description of this table in another environment or directly here in source code. I will commit that to develop branch, which is a special pointer to the code that we develop. So we can clearly separate the version that we are working on and the version which is in production, for example. And I now updated the development versions that all developer environments are can be bound to. But at the same time, I will make the same change in the environment without synchronizing it first. So that will inevitably cause a conflict because system will not know which version is the right one. So I will write something else here. It will go through because here on the environment, I'm making unmanaged modifications. So that's fine as long as I don't start trying to put it on the same source control branch. So if we go here, the first thing we can do is to check for updates on Azure DevOps side to see if someone has changed the description in the meantime. And if all of us were touching different components, we wouldn't have any conflict and everything would work just fine. But here we can see that actually someone else, oh, it was me, changed the item description here. And I need to resolve that conflict. So I can choose whether I want to keep my changes on the environment or whether I want to take the changes which are coming from source control. So let's say that I want to take the changes from source control, and this is how I resolve the conflict. The native Git integration doesn't have any sort of diffing or conflict resolution in the textual form yet. So if we want to achieve that, we can leverage Azure DevOps, and we can do the conflict resolution on the Azure DevOps level. So I will show you how that could be achieved. So now I will make a change which I will not merge with others through Power Platform, but I will use Azure DevOps for that. So let's change the description again. This can be really anything, any component which is supported by the native Git integration. It's not all components. For example, you will not be able to ship data flows through this, for example. But majority of the old components are onboarded, and all of the new components from newer than 2020, they're all automatically part of this. So I made a change. Let's commit it. Oh, I first need to pull the previous change. Okay. So how this works on the background is that Microsoft keeps checksum of all the files. So they keep checksum of the version that you have in Dataverse. They keep checksum of files you have in Git. They compare them. And they just reconcile the changes. This is really for unmanaged changes. Don't think of this as a mean of distributing your application to other environments. This is just for development purposes, so we can synchronize what you do with source control, version control, so you can travel in time, see what has changed. Okay, I don't see the change here, but we don't have time, so I will need to speed up. So let's go here to Azure DevOps. You can see that we have two branches here. One of them is developed. That's where we make changes. And this is the main branch where we can like release stuff and merge it once it's ready. So I want to create a pull request. Pull request is basically about bringing changes from one branch to another branch. So I will now create this. The description. This is a standard thing. You can see that on GitHub, GitLab, Azure DevOps. This is how developers reconcile changes. So I created this pull request. I could have some documentation, chat about the changes. I can include reviewers. I can include automatic static analysis, which would scan my code for potential problems. I can link my work here from the task, so it provides me very rich experience to manage changes. And I can also see all the files that I have changed as part of the change set, which I am now merging. So here, if I approve it and complete it, it will get resolved. And when I go back to the source code and switch to the main branch, I will see my changes now on the main branch. And now I will show you another thing, how you can enhance Power Platform pipelines on the pipeline host. So we will switch to IT operations environment. I will open my deployment automation solution, and I have a second flow which can get the changes from Git once pull request is completed. So you can see that here I am reacting on someone completing a pull request in Azure DevOps. So I can say specifically here on the main branch in this project and this repository, when something changes, I want to fetch the changes to another environment, which I have called here software integration testing. That's where I test the changes after I merge things from multiple developers, so that I can see that nothing has broken during the reconciliation of changes. Because when you merge things, you break things, right? So you need to test it somewhere, even before you let users test it. So this is how you can automate the Git integration that you saw in the UI. You can use custom APIs, which are in Dataverse there for the purpose. And it is scoped to a single solution, which is a big downside of this approach. Of approach with Power Platform pipelines, because they're still limited to one solution. Okay, so these are Power Platform pipelines, very quick. Now let's have a look at Power Platform Catalog. Has anyone used Power Platform Catalog? Okay, there are two catalogs. There is Business Event Catalog. This is what you saw with my trigger in Power Automate, where I could select some events from the catalog, for example, on deployment requested of Power Platform pipeline. Now I don't mean that catalog, I mean the other catalog. This one is for sharing artifacts between environments, and you can use that for deployments. And it has a very similar function to Power Platform pipelines, and it's actually much better. So let's have a look at what Power Platform Catalog is. If we go to the new admin center, we can find it under the Deployments hub. So here, when I switch to deployments, I can see catalog page here, and I have already created one catalog here, which should include all the things that I deploy and I manage as IT department, for example. But you can create multiple catalogs, and when you do that, you actually install a package to an environment which provisions there a set of tables and an application for managing your catalog. But Microsoft has integrated it into Power Platform Admin Center, so you can easily spin up a new catalog in a new environment. So it's one catalog per environment. So I selected my IT operations environment previously and deployed a catalog there. On the catalog level, you can control who can submit packages, who can deploy packages, who needs to review them. So there's some security which you can configure. And once this is ready, you can go back to the Power Apps Maker and to the developer environment, and I will show you how you can submit a solution to the catalog. It's very easy. It needs to be an unmanaged solution on your developer environment, but you can use this button, Publish to Catalog, which will ask you for some information about the package. Now, I mean package deployer package, Dataverse package that I introduced previously, and the catalog where you want to publish it. So here, since I have already done this before, it sees that I already have this sort of solution published in my catalog. So it asks me whether I want to have new version of that solution, that package deployed. I know it might be confusing, the package and solution, but it works with both. And here, just like that, I can publish a new version of my solution. So if I do this, what happens in the background is that Power Platform takes this solution, it converts it to a Dataverse package, and then it publishes it on the catalog environment. And from there, you can make it available for deployments to other environments. So it's sort of like Power Platform pipeline hosts, right? But it can do packages. Great. Uh, as I mentioned previously, packages give you an option to include configuration data when you need to migrate any records that you created between environment, and it can also allow you to plug in custom C# code which gets executed before, during, and after the deployment. It has got access to the API, it's authenticated, and it's quite easy for developers to extend the deployment process. Okay, so I published my inventory management solution to the package host. So let's have a look there. So I should be able to see the catalog item here now. So that's my inventory management solution. And I can see all the metadata that I have specified when I was creating it. And from here, other environments can access the artifact. So now let's have a look at how I can deploy that to my test environment. So from here, I can open catalog, and I should already be able to see my package here published. So because I have already installed the package previously, I can just update my version. So a few moments ago, I published the new version 1.0.0.7, and just like this, I can distribute the update to the target environment. It can do connection references, it can do environment variables, it can do everything you can do with Power Platform pipelines. It's just much better, but unfortunately, it's not very well documented. Not many people know about this. And it's unfortunately not finished to the extent that we could easily use it. But you can see it's not that difficult if you know what you're doing. So this is how I install the package. Now, one downside of Power Platform pipelines is that you cannot invoke the deployment from an automation. Technically, you can if you know which API, custom API to call, but you cannot do it from Power Automate. So if I wanted to do this update that I just did on the test environment from Power Platform pipelines, I need to go to the solution on the source environment. I need to click on deploy. If I wanted to automate this, there is no way because the custom API is hidden from the connector. Now, if you use catalog, this is easy because their API is not hidden. So I will go back to the IT operations environment. And I have created a third flow, which shows you how you can automate package deployment with this in product feature. So it is very simple. I used a manual trigger here, but you can plug it to whatever process. And you can use this install catalog item by catalog item ID, custom API. You can say which environment you want the package to be deployed to. And this GUID you can get from the package host. So I showed you that this is my catalog item, and I have the catalog item identifier here, and this is what I can use for deployments. What's nice about this is that this ID doesn't change. So you can use it even if you publish new versions. You can even, it is very, like the way they did it is very smart. I really like catalog because someone was thinking really hard, when they were making it. You can even do things like this. You can install a specific version here. So really good. This is the there is a difference from Power Platform pipelines in that sense that this is documented. So you can actually find documentation for this. You can also see random base 64 strings here. I know it might look intimidating, but it's really simple. It hides the deployment settings file. So what you generate for solutions, you can also use here. You can assign environment variables. You can assign connection references. You can enable workflows here. Cool, right? So this is how you can automate the deployment. This is easy in Power Automate for catalog, but it's not easy for Power Platform pipelines because you will not find the action here because it's hidden. So let's get back to the presentation. I will summarize what I was showing here. So without CI/CD, you can export solution from dev, import it to the target environment. And if you want to start over on a new environment, because you should cycle them to make sure that you're still in sync with what's being distributed. If you work with multiple people, this is what you do. And you probably store your solution somewhere on SharePoint, right? Next level is using Power Platform pipelines, which do essentially the same thing. They have some extra UI around that. And they also allow you to set connections, for example, and set environment variables, which is useful because you would need to do that during import on the downstream environment. Now, more advanced version of that is when you include the source control integration, so that when you change something, you commit it to your Git repo. But the problem here is that if someone forgets to do this, you will not see the change here. Source control is not the source of truth here, which is a problem. Every developer will tell you Git should be the source of truth. Unfortunately, the platform cannot do that yet. There are some signs that surfaced in the product a couple of days ago that this might be possible in the future, but for now, it's not possible to make the Git repo the source. You could actually do some crazy sort of automation of spinning up a new environment after they publish the APIs for automating binding of source control, but that's also not easy at this point. You can't even use Azure DevOps pipelines to use the Git integration source code to build what you have here without that original environment because solution packager cannot support any format yet, but that should be coming soon. Now, the next level is that you bring in your own pipelines. So you will export the solutions manually or through PackCLI. You can unpack that into source control friendly format, which is different from what you get from the in-product experience. So you can't really combine these yet. And then you can use Azure DevOps build and deploy pipelines, which can compose your solution or package and push them to downstream environments. Now, the most advanced option that I think is the greatest is that you start using package deployer packages. So you combine multiple solutions into a simple unit of deployment. You store the source code in your Git repo, which is the real source of truth. You do the match conflict resolution there, you do approvals there, you do releases there. Then you have a set of pipelines which can build and deploy your artifacts, and they can do that through catalog host. And the reason why I have catalog host here is because it maintains a deployment queue. So if you do this at scale, you have definitely seen that, especially on weekends, you conflict with deployments from Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft needs to deploy tens and hundreds of their own solutions to every environment out there, and they do it over a weekend for the platform stuff, but it spills out to weekdays for things which is first party but is not part of the Dataverse repo. So they do a lot of servicing and deployments, and you can often conflict with them, which causes problems. The way how it is supposed to be solved is that every environment has a single deployment queue. So when Microsoft sends solutions there, AppSource sends solutions there, Catalog sends solutions there, they form a queue and they wait before the previous import ends. so you can continue with other. I know there were some ideas in Microsoft to committing them as transactions and stuff like that, but this is the best we can do right now to use the catalog host because it uses the same package deployer service that is used by the first party app source and catalog servicing. Cool. Some comparison. So old way solution packager, you need to do manual stuff. You need to have MSBuild CDS approach for building the project. You can somehow decide between MSBuild and PackCLI manual scripts. Every developer has their own flavor of building solutions here, but this is still the best thing we've got. Now you've got the native Git integration, which integrates the experience from your computer and local Git client into makepowerapps.com. It has changed the folder structure. It has changed the format, which is the same from the schema perspective, but it's not stored as XML. It's stored as YAML, and it's quite easy to set it up and use. So I'm really looking forward to the point where we will be able to combine these two, but we're waiting for Microsoft to finish solution packager support so we can actually build the source code from source. Yeah. Then Power Platform pipelines, I also have a comparison here. So you can do only single solutions. There is a linear flow, which you cannot customize too much. And when you introduce custom components like code apps, PCFs, when you build JavaScript from TypeScript, all sorts of stuff which needs to have a compute to build the resulting artifact. You can do that through the extensibility, but it's not very convenient. All right. So we have gone through these. Maybe I will upload the presentation so you will be able to see what the platform catalog can do. It's outlined here. And we have 7 minutes left that I have for the professional part. So I will briefly go through that. So I am a fan of storing everything related to the same unit of deployment in a single repository because I don't want to be consolidating multiple pull requests over multiple repositories because that's where that's where mistakes happen. Like, oh my God, it's broken. There's a bug because we forgot to close this pull request in the other PCF repo. No, this is not how I like to do stuff. So I'm consolidating everything which I deploy as a single unit into single repository. And I use MSBuild and my .NET project system to achieve the process of tracking dependencies and producing the build artifacts. I use a combination of .NET CLI, PackCLI, and Azure CLI in my demo script. I have some custom things included, but they're fully open source, so you can open the script and have a look at the internals, so you see how the process is done. This is the professional, most complicated way of doing things. So I don't expect many people to go this way, but if you want to recreate the whole setup, this is where you can find step-by-step scripts. So in the script, we have multiple stages. So we're first setting up our machine. We're setting up Azure DevOps and environments. Then we are showing how to implement things like data model, plugins, possibly controls, scripts, how to build them, deploy them, test them. That's called the inner developer loop. That's where the developer builds stuff and deals with their task. And this is how you can integrate multiple developers, merge that to a single artifact, which you can then again test, release, deploy, and operate. So I'm trying to automate the hell out of this process because it's a lot of steps. So that's what you can find in the scripts that I will show you here in the last 5 minutes. So I have a set of VS Code snippets that can initialize your local repository. And you can run them like this because it's all published. Don't worry that we have just 4 minutes left. You will be able to try that yourself. So here I initialized some variables. Here I need to sign in into Azure CLI, PackCLI, and configure the Azure DevOps CLI extension. So that's the next step I need to do. I will be showing you how to run this demo, so you can do that yourself, because we will obviously not make it today. But these are the steps that you need to do to actually make the source control the source of truth and include every single component you deploy in the same repository. There are examples of pipelines. There are examples of how you can use workload federated identity between Azure DevOps and Entra ID, so your pipelines can actually authenticate without secrets. And we'll see how far we can get. So first of all, I'm in an empty folder here, so I need to initialize my Git repository so it can start tracking changes. Then I will be creating some root files because I like to organize my repo into some standard structure you can find all over the open source community. So I'm creating a source file, I'm creating a git ignore, that's a list of files that are supposed to be ignored when you're committing them to the source control version manager. And I'm creating solution file, which is not Dataverse solution, but it's actually a Visual Studio solution file, which can keep track of all the projects within your repo. So when you call .NET build in the repository root, it will know how to build it in which order, and that will help you to get the artifact that you need to deploy. This is how you initialize package deployer. So you can create a .NET project for the package deployer. This is what you can download from the pipeline host. This is what gets generated when you submit it to the catalog. So you have an XML file here which tracks all the solutions, or you can do that through the .NET project system automatically, so you don't need to write the list for import order here manually. Okay, let's continue with the next step of committing the changes. And I could go on for another 20 minutes before I get to the state where I can deploy this thing. But why I started showing you is that this has a good potential to be automated with AI, right? So what I have started doing, because I've been demonstrating that many times, I've actually created an MCP server which wraps all of these steps. So you can run things like create sales order entity, connect, then create customer entity, connect them via customer attribute lookup, whatever. And then it will try to locate the step within the demo script and compose the repository and set it up according to the script that I have published. So it's got many bugs, it's far from finished. You will not be able to use this. It is open source, but very raw. It makes a lot of mistakes, but I've been able to achieve some amazing results with that. And if you feel like helping me, which I would really appreciate it because I do that in my free time, you could actually have a look at our repo where we do this. And there is a huge pull request, which my colleague is working on, which tracks all the templates for all the components which you can create in Dataverse. This is the current list, but there is a major update of the new list. Where we just ran out of time, but you can see many things which can be plugged into the solution on your local machine. You don't need to go through the maker. I've started consolidating templates here. So when you need to register an assembly step, we pretty much mimic what gets added to the solution at the runtime. This is very raw, it has many mistakes, there is a lot of work to be done on that, but if you want to help me, I'm happy to take contributions. So Here, our GitHub Copilot has added a solution with 2 entities. And what's the most beautiful thing about it? It has even created the right relationship. Great. So thank you very much. I'll be here for the experts discussions now. So if you want to see anything more, just visit us next door, I believe. Thank you.